Good afternoon. Welcome to the NFL weather forecast and also the picks for the last week of the season. Now, last week I was 11-5, 147 to 91 overall for the season. So overall, not too bad at all for the picks. In terms of weather impacts, we're going to focus on two areas. First of all, the Cowboys at Giants. We're going to be dealing with some periods of rain, and that's going to be an important game because that could decide whether or not the Giants get into the playoffs as the NFC East champions, depending on what happens tonight with Washington at the Eagles. And then we're going to be dealing with the snowfall threat that's going to be developing with the Dolphins at Bills. Now, the Bills are pretty much locked in there, but the Dolphins need this game in order to win. So it's going to be an important game for the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting. 4 p.m. games is pretty quiet, and we're not really looking for a lot in terms of impacts. Maybe some snow showers for the Broncos when they face the Raiders, but that is about it. But then the 8 p.m. game, well, we're going to be dealing with periods of rain and snow mixing in around the Philadelphia metro. So again, not the best weather conditions out there. And Washington's going to, of course, be driven to win that game. So it could be a major impact in terms of what's going to happen with the NFC playoffs. So let's dive into my picks for this year for the last time this season. I like Miami taking out Buffalo only because Buffalo should be resting all their players and Miami has something to actually play for. So I could see them trying to win that game. Baltimore at Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is just a better team than Buffalo, to be honest with you. Cleveland versus Pittsburgh. I think Cleveland's going to give Pittsburgh yet another loss. I think that Pittsburgh's pretty much falling apart at this point. Minnesota, Denver. I'd like Minnesota taking out that game. New England versus the Jets. I like the Jets here only because these two teams are playing horribly and the Jets have nothing to lose. So we'll see what happens. They might squeeze it. It might be like a 7-3 type game. Dallas versus the Giants. Again, I'm kind of going with my art here. I've been disappointed for 2 weeks in a row, but we'll see what happens. Where Giants will beat Dallas in a very close game, probably in the fourth quarter. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. I like Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is just a better team overall versus Atlanta. Green Bay it's definitely a team ready to go to the playoffs. I think they'll be able to beat Chicago handedly. Las Vegas will beat Denver, but this is again going to be one of those 7-3, 9-6 type games. Indianapolis will beat Jacksonville. I got the Chiefs beating the Chargers, but again, I can see the Chargers kind of pulling this out, but the Chargers have a great way of tripping over themselves. So we'll see what happens with the Chiefs, who are resting most of their key players as they get ready for the playoffs. Then you got Los Angeles versus Arizona. I think the Rams will beat Arizona, but I don't think they'll get into the playoffs. It's going to be very, very tight. Seattle versus San Francisco. I'll go with Seattle on that one. New Orleans versus Carolina. New Orleans definitely going to win that one. Tennessee versus Houston. Houston is a shell of itself, so I'll say that Tennessee will win this game, but it's going to be something of 14-10, that type of scenario. And then for the upset, I'm going to go with Philadelphia trying to get some revenge, taking out Washington tonight in a close nail biter that's going to be decided in the fourth quarter. Those are my picks for this week. Again, it's been a lot of fun for this season, and I'll be back next season doing the same thing. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay safe out there.